drips like honey, sweet to taste on burning lips. Wanna lie beneath the water, feeling icy fingertips. Soothing nectar to my body, wash the image from my eyes. Dirty streets of hungry people, drink the water, dry your eyes. Let's not look at the reflections, listen to the music made. Drinking water's ease the mind, thoughts of you begin to fade.
Get yourself together before it's too late.
Well, who did you expect? Sean Connery? Oh, shit. Who's that guy over there? Hey, look, I couldn't make it last week. Maybe one day I'll explain, but there was no way I could perform last week. So, yeah, just one of those things. But I'm here this week, so it's good to see everybody. Toast. It's Divided We Stand, Saturday night, March the 4th, 2023, and we're still here. I did see in the commentary that Karen Rice had gallbladder surgery. That's unfortunate. I guess it's fortunate for her to have it, but, she is a popular member of Divided We Stand, usually here on Saturday night, so let's touch wood. Hopefully everything will be okay. In fact, let's look and see who's here already. We got Gary. Gary, how you doing? Good to see you. Veg, another great video this week. Really, really liked it. And you're an honorary American because you seem to understand American culture better than most Americans. I think most Canadians do for some reason. It's just what happens. Bark Eater, good to see you. And aloha, as you say. And of course, Veg. Franz, great to see you, Franz. Franz has become a regular member of late. Good to see you. And we have Joey. Of course, Joey. Joey was courteous enough to get a hold of me part of the show. I had made a mistake. I was updating some of the grammar and such on my invitation to the video on Facebook. And I suppose it just automatically changed the date of this show. And I thought, oh, geez. So, thanks, Joey. Good to see you. Kim's here. Kim from Washington. That is the state of Washington, where they do have representation. And a good governor, too, correct? Or at least as good as one could expect. And yes, send good thoughts to Karen. Epi from Scotland. Always great to see Epi because, as you know, there's a 5-hour time difference between Eastern Standard Time and Scottish time. So it is probably around 2:11 there. So hats off to Epi to stay up this late. Of course, you might be a night owl, and that's okay too. But Epi, it's great to see you, as always. And let's see who else we have here. We have Bark Eater, Epi, Bark Eater. Okay, so right now we have around 10 people, which means we have some people incognito, which is fine with me. I kind of get into that, where we have the silent members of DWS, and there's always that kind of mystery, I think, behind it, that those who like to remain quiet just sit back and watch, and that's a good thing. I think that's important. One must feel comfortable, not throwing their name out there, but in their own way being a part of the show. So, news. Dave Price. My wife and I did hear from Judy recently, and Dave has read 3 books, I believe in the last month or so. And that's always good news. Okay? I can't say that Dave's ready to come back, but at the very least, he's reading again. And Dave, as you know, is a prolific reader, and for him to get back to doing that is always a good sign. It's a first good sign. You'll have to excuse me from time to time. I'm going to have the water. Yes, thanks, Veg. I really, really appreciate that. So it's good to be back, and like I say, a lot's going on the last 2 weeks. Most of it's not good. We have the world, I don't want to say on the brink of world war, but it's always a possibility. We have China rattling their sabers and Iran doing the same. Russia's always ready to pull some shit. And a lot of political chicanery going on with the Republican Party, as usual. So there's just so much to discuss. However, I thought tonight I'd like to focus tonight. I'd really like to focus. And this morning I was thinking, okay, where am I going to go with this on this show? I haven't been here for 2 weeks. There's so much to talk about. And I thought, well, I'm going to take the first thing that's come to my mind, and the first impulse of what I've seen the last 2 weeks, something that angered me the most, and plenty of things angered me. But it's this guy. This guy. And it's interesting because he's a Kennedy, but he's not from the Kennedy family that we know. It's John Kennedy from I won't say the great state of Louisiana, but he's from Louisiana. I think he was born in Mississippi. CPAC, hysterically funny this year. Yes, and speaking of which, I'm going to show you CPAC from last year, because it's going to tie into this. As you can tell from the title, I called him a corn pone, which is maybe not fair in a certain sense, because he was a co-valedictorian in high school. He graduated magna cum laude. He went to Vanderbilt, which isn't, I don't think, anything great. But the original founders of Vanderbilt University, I think Vanderbilt himself was on the Confederate side. I wouldn't be surprised that this guy went to Vanderbilt, even though Vanderbilt's a very popular college in Virginia right now, and you wouldn't have to be a Confederate to go there. But it makes me think about this guy. And this guy is the consummate political actor. And I'm going to show you a few things. And I think I originally, had this ire built up when I watched Kennedy grill Merrick Garland. Now, I'm not a fan of Merrick Garland, as you know. I have come to Kinky Street's idea that, Merrick Garland is no hero. He really isn't. But he was abused by this son of a bitch over here. And I don't like it when somebody asks questions that they really know the answers to. I mean, I know attorneys have to do it, and he is an attorney, or was an attorney. But there's just something about this guy that really gets me. And I'll show you some of the questioning that he had for Garland. But in the spirit of acting, I'm going to go into my role playing tonight. Yes, indeed. And Joey knows who South Philly Joe is. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to just kind of pull this off. Because sometimes I do better when, I go in character, so to speak. So it's going to be South Philly Joe tonight. All right, so no apologies on that, and I'll probably come back to my regular in-character Brian, but for now, I'm going to prepare, and I'll see you, in about a half an hour, but now we're going to let Joe take over. Oh, God, that's not Joe, but this is. Yo. All right. Some of you don't know who I am. I am South Philly Joe, though I sound like I am from Brooklyn, and my eyes have problems, so please have some sympathy for me. I do have eye problems, okay? So I do want to show you a real son of a bitch, and this is going to be a son of a bitch if I don't get my things right. Oh, my eyes are getting better already because it's divided we stand. So, what? All right. So, oh, geez, my eyes is going crazy here, huh? Oh, Jesus. Maybe I need to use a different Joe. Or, oh, shit. Look who's there. Me. All right, let's go and go into a British accent. No, let's check this out. This is the CPAC with Joseph Cornpone Kennedy. And we shall see what kind of a schmuck he is. And let me just make myself a little smaller here or over here. There we go. Okay. Have patience with me. Now, I can only do this in this character, you know? It's just the way I have to do this shit. I just feel more comfortable when I'm dealing with some type of actor. So tonight I'm going to act 2. But who knows? Maybe this is Joe. All right, so what the fuck? Let's go to the CPAC convention. Let's go back in time. Who says we can't go back in time? We can, because I'm going to do it right now. I'm starting to sound like Bela Lugosi, or something like that. Oh shit, this is turning out very bad already. But I will do this anyway. Blah. Somehow I don't think. Bullshit. Somehow I. What was that face? Somehow I don't think that music kind of matches the way this guy looks, because he is a cornpone. I called him Mr. Vittles because he looks like he should be from something out of the Beverly Hillbillies, the motherfucker. But we'll listen to this anyway. I don't know what kind of music this is. Oh, they love him. What do you know? I'm a hillbilly. Oh shit! What the fuck is that? I'm a hillbilly. That's what I am. Or Boris Karloff. No, like I said, I'm South Philly Joe. Pay no mind to that voice that comes out of my mouth sometimes.
I'm John Kennedy.
Oh shit! I know who John Kennedy was, and believe me, you're no John Kennedy.
Not that John Kennedy, this John Kennedy.
Yes.
Permit me, if you will, to tell you what I believe. I believe that America was founded by geniuses. But it's being run by idiots. I believe that you can't fix stupid, but you can vote it out. I believe that America, unless we lose it, is the greatest country in all of human history, and the whole world knows it.
I'm muted. I thought, oh shit. Oh, so I was being muted. Oh shit. Maybe we should start this over again. No, let's not. Anyone here know how to read lips? Shit. All right, here I go. I thought it was the volume of the CPAC. It's me, South Philly Joe. Okay, I'm getting this right. Hey, look, it's for free. What can I tell you?
Let me ask you something. When is the last time you heard of someone trying to sneak into China? America is so great. America is so great that...
Well, they ain't coming to your state. Let me tell you that. They might want to come to America. Whoa, I'm turning my head. I'm turning into the Exorcist. What the fuck? Yeah, what happened to Russia last week? I don't know. But listen. Nobody's coming to Louisiana, fella. Maybe they're coming to the woke areas, but they ain't coming to your place. Let me tell you, they don't need your shit.
People who hate it refuse to leave it.
Yeah, but you like if I'd leave, right? You don't like me. You don't like people like me. You'd like to see me leave. You won't leave because you know you get your ass kicked somewhere else.
Now listen to me on this one. I believe that Republicans are not perfect.
But
I believe that Republicans are not perfect, but the other side is crazy.
yeah, that would be us, right? We're crazy and you got your shit together.
And I also believe in what we accomplished when Republicans controlled the House and controlled the Senate, and President Trump was our president.
Yeah, you fucked everything up, including January 6th and everything left and right. COVID, everything you did, you fucked up. And you want control again? Fuck you.
I want you to think about it just for a minute.
I did. I'm done. You suck.
In 4 years, this is what we did. We cut taxes.
Yeah, you cut taxes for the rich, right? Not for me, for the rich. And now we got a fucking deficit because of your rich spending bullshit. You didn't cut anything for us.
Increased wages. We delivered 3.5% unemployment.
Obama was leading you that way, fella.
We had the lowest unemployment rate in the history of this wonderful country for Hispanic Americans and African Americans.
Oh, I'm sure they love you, fella. I'm sure you really cared about them. Oh, what the fuck?
We created 8 million new jobs pre-COVID. We deregulated the economy.
Yeah, deregulated, and that's why we have the fucking trains falling off the rails. Because you deregulate everything, you let everything get fucking polluted. You guys had your way, people could do any kind of bullshit.
We controlled inflation. We protected life. We secured the...
Protected life? Life? That's the last thing you protected. You're trying to kill us.
Border. We secured our streets. We beat back ISIS. We strengthened the military. We stood up to China, Russia, and Iran.
Yeah, you didn't stand up for shit against Russia. Nothing. You did nothing against them. They walk all over people because of your shit.
And we confirmed 234 conservative federal judges.
Yeah, crazy motherfuckers like Kavanaugh in the Supreme Court and Gorsuch and schmucks like that. That's all we need. It's like having 235 Bruce Schraders out there so Kyle Rittenhouse can go play in the sandbox with his gun.
Including 3 new members of the United States Supreme Court.
And they suck.
And by God, we can do it again.
And I bet you would if you could. You certainly tried January 6th, but not the legal way. Cornpone.
Now, Let me say a word about the Biden administration.
I'm sure it ain't gonna be good.
I say this gently. So far, the Biden administration sucks.
No, you suck. Big time.
President Biden has mismanaged COVID. He's mismanaged.
No, your asshole mismanaged COVID. Over 1 million people died, okay? And he's probably responsible for half to 3/4 of the shit because of his mismanagement. Biden's the one that got the shit right, not wrong, asshole.
Congress, he's mismanaged the border, he's mismanaged crime, he's mismanaged foreign policy, and he's
mismanaged foreign policy. He's doing the right thing by helping out Ukraine instead of helping out that fucking murderer Putin. You dumb asshole.
Mismanaged Afghanistan.
No, Trump mismanaged Afghanistan, and that's why that shit happened.
He's also mismanaged inflation.
No, he hasn't. In fact, because he released the oil in the reserves that brought down the price of gas, which you guys don't mention anything about these days. You're not even happy about the shit, okay? If it wasn't for Biden, our prices of gasoline would be going a lot higher and never would have come down. But because he opened up the reserves, ha fucking ha, fucking ha.
Now, I don't like.
Now, I don't like, because I'm from the South. I don't like.
Brag about the expensive places I've been.
Where have you been there, cornpone in the cornfields?
But this morning, I went to the gas station.
Yeah, and the prices went down. How do you like that?
Oh my God. Please, dear Lord, don't let President Biden mismanage Russia aggression.
Oh, he's talking about Biden mismanaging Russia aggression. Well, where the fuck are you now and the rest of you motherfuckers? Now that Putin went all over Ukraine and started killing people, now you're trying to hold back the goddamn budget to help them out, motherfucker.
What else do I believe?
Not much.
I believe that exercise makes you look better naked. So does alcohol.
Ha fucking ha again. Old joke, everybody knows. You ain't fooling anybody, cornpone. Nobody. What? And look at these people what motherfuckers are out there. They all look like they're from fucking Louisiana, don't they? Like the golf course. Sipping the mint julep and shit. With a fucking lame red hat. And dyed blonde hair. And smirky.
I don't know how that one got in here.
Yes, you do know how it got in there. Maybe you got drunk a few times. You know what I mean? On some double, triple X shit with the jug and all. You know that is. More like Jethro Bodine.
I believe that no parent should be required to send their child to a failing school.
Oh, so you and Betsy DeVos. You two together, the dynamic duo. No failing schools. Well, give them some fucking money. Pay the fucking teachers. But you can't do it, can you?
You can't do it. You want those people to have shitty schools. And you certainly want segregated schools. And I know that, you motherfucker, because you're that type. You're that racist type.
I believe that no parent should be required to send their child to a failure factory where violence is.
All right, then let them send those kids to your grandchildren's school. And let's see if you accept them, asshole. You won't.
Common in learning is rare. I believe in the dignity of work.
Yeah, as long as somebody else is doing it. You got somebody cutting your lawn? You and people like you who have so much legacy wealth, well, you don't have to work for it. It's all unearned income. You're not working, and you're telling other people to work? Fuck you. Fuck you. I got an itch. No. Just because they may not be earning it doesn't mean you're earning it either. You lazy son of a bitch. Living on legacy wealth on your fucking inheritances. And people like you. And you're gonna blame them? You're gonna blame them for what you're guilty of? I would call that ignoring what you are defending. You lousy cornpone.
Those who can work should work.
So get to work.
Welfare for able-bodied people should be temporary.
And the military sometimes is welfare for the rich. And the tax code is welfare for the rich. Every tax except for the income tax is a regressive tax. And you want to fucking go after these people making $12 an hour and you make them work their asses off. You're full of shit. And all you have is a bunch of cornpones out there who are racist, and they're gonna clap and back you on every kind of racist thing you say.
Welfare should be a bridge, not a parking lot.
It is a bridge for most people. For most people, it's not abusive, like you and your type who abuse the fucking tax system, like payroll taxes. Anything over or around $134,000 you don't pay payroll taxes for. But me and anybody else, well, you're making me cough. We have to pay payroll taxes on all of our income. Who the fuck are you to tell us about what we need to work for? You need to get to work. Get your fucking head to work.
Let me say a word about foreign affairs.
Please don't.
That's on our minds today. I believe that weakness invites the wolves.
Yeah, and I think as Democrats, we have to get a little stronger because he's a wolf. Wolf, wolf, wolf.
Now, I don't know what this is. If I make it to heaven, I'm going to ask. But there's some people in this world. They're not sick. They're not.
Fella, if there's a heaven and you're going, I don't want to go there. I want the other place.
Mixed up. They're not confused. It's not that their mama or daddy didn't love them enough. They're evil. And some of them run countries.
That would be true. If we're talking about Putin and North Korea, Kim Jong-un, China, and a host of other places, yes, I would agree. You have to be tough with them. But you ain't tough on them. Just talking shit.
And all they understand is strength.
I'll agree with that.
Must be armed for peace.
Then give Ukraine all that Biden wants to give them, asshole you.
believe that we don't have a gun control problem. We have an idiot control problem.
Yeah, everybody with a gun is basically a fucking idiot, like Kyle Rittenhouse. And the idiots who back them, like you and Judge Bruce Schrader, are idiots. You just got the wrong idiots, idiot.
Here's some free advice.
I don't need it, fucker.
Friends, if the government ever tells you you can't own a gun, buy two.
Oh, that's fucking funny. That's fucking funny. If they tell you you can't own a gun, you buy two. And look at his pause there. Mr. Actor, Mr. Marlon Brando, with the cornpone accent, doing his left-right shit, and waiting a few seconds for the applause. He knows what he's doing, ladies and gentlemen. He knows what he's doing. He's playing the crowd, and the crowd is the very idiot that he talks about. They're the true idiots. And the only thing he's like them because he's for them. But he does know the difference between right and wrong, but he's choosing wrong.
I believe.
Who cares what you fucking believe?
I believe that if you hate cops just because they're cops, the next time you get in trouble, call them a crackhead.
That's not funny. And not all cops are good. Some are and some aren't. And we know that to be true. Just ask George Floyd, asshole.
Here's a free tip.
I don't need one.
Cops will leave you alone if you don't do illegal
Not true.
stuff.
Not true. Not always true.
I believe in life. I believe in life. I believe that babies don't choose to die.
Yeah, and they don't choose to be born either. There are babies born who are born with cancer and all kinds of shit. They did not choose to come into this world, but some asshole does bring them in. It's nobody's choice to come into the world. It's none of their own choice. It's always somebody else that plays God, that does the experiment.
And I believe that we need to defend those babies, those little lives every single day.
Oh, fuck you. Defend them. What happens when they're born? After they're born, you don't give a shit about them. I'm one of them. I just grew up. You don't give a shit about them. You don't give a shit. You don't give a shit about them. This is all about votes. I have a bunch of people out there that get minimum wage so you can sit on your ass. There's nothing about God and what you care about. You don't give a shit.
Every single day.
Oh, I'm getting hemorrhoids from this shit. What the fuck happened to my face?
Now listen to me carefully on this one.
I'll try.
Hear me out.
I will.
I believe that America is not perfect, but we are good.
Yeah, there are some good Americans, and there are some bad ones, and you're fucking bad.
Like every other culture in the history of humanity, America caught the disease of slavery. But we...
Yeah, and like I said, you went to Vanderbilt, and he was one of the ones that were behind the bad guys. And if slavery were possible today, I'm sure your ass would be part of it.
beat it back. And we passed civil rights laws.
Yeah, but people like you didn't beat it back. It's people like me and everybody else who knew the difference between right and wrong, the John Browns of the world. But assholes like you kept shit the way it was, or tried to. And you'd like to keep it that way if you could. You got some nostalgic or romantic view of the past that you want to keep. Asshole.
In 1866, 1871, 1875, 1960, 1964, 1968, 1990, and 1991, and I'm...
Oh, shut the fuck up. It's not done, fucker. It's not done. There's racism all the fuck over. And usually from people like you, fucker.
I'm probably leaving some out. The truth is that most Americans don't think that much about race.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Just go to a church on Sunday. How many black people do you see at white churches? Hello? Hello? Why do you see schools that are segregated? Still. Neighborhoods. One side of the track and the others. And a lot of it's because you guys don't give poor people opportunity for the last whatever 1,000 years. People like you want to stay on top and get a free ride out of life, while others have to struggle, and then you're going to blame them, asshole.
They think about character.
Not everybody, and not a lot of people. About 73 million of them don't give a shit. They want to take my vote away. Truthfully. There's the truth. The truth is what is. They'll vote for somebody like Green or Boebert. That's the truth. And they don't care. Like Bruce Schrader didn't care that he put his thumb on the scales of justice to help out Kyle Rittenhouse. There are assholes who don't care. And there are about 73 million of them. And about 235 federal judges appointed by Trump who don't care. Including 6 Supreme Court justices who don't care.
And they understand that souls have no color.
You don't know jack shit about souls. You ain't got no soul.
I believe we need an election day, not an election month.
Well, where were you in 2000? Huh, fella? All you do is make it difficult for people to fucking vote. No wonder it takes a month to figure it all out. Because all you fuckers cheat all the time. And say that we're cheating. Projecting there, fella. Look at these idiots.
I believe you should have to prove you are who you say you are when you vote.
Yeah. And like you want to like check my signature is if I don't dot it the right way, my vote gets thrown out. But Johnny Cornpone, no matter what, he gets his vote in there. Fuck you. You just want to take my vote. It's not about proving the vote. You could count on your hand how many times some people illegally voted. And all of them, if 4 out of 5 were fucking Republicans, asshole. You just want to make it difficult for me. And people like me. Fucker. And listen to them clap. Listen to that shit. Because they believe Trump got robbed. They want the loser to win. They don't want to play fair. Son of a bitch. And people, look at that. They stand up and clap for this shit. You gotta be fucking insane.
Duh!
Duh. Duh to you.
I believe that vetting people at the border is not racist. It's prudent. I believe that Arlington National Cemetery.
Yeah, and very few of you motherfuckers will be buried there because you're not fighting in the war. It's just people like me.
Have you been?
Yeah, I've been.
If you haven't, go.
I went.
If you've been,
I've been.
go twice. Go again.
Done it. Been there. Done that.
I believe that Arlington National Cemetery contains 400,000 reasons why you should stand your ass up for the national anthem.
Yeah, and most of those 400,000 people were the poor people that you step on who fought for this country and made this country, asshole. You should be kissing their fucking feet. Don't talk about fucking standing for the national anthem. They fucking gave their blood. The very people that you've been talking shit about were doing all the work. You didn't fight. You should be lucky to fucking get buried there. They'd bury you in a matchbox. Because you're so full of shit.
Thank you. USA.
Yeah, you're going to co-opt the USA. We win a fucking hockey game in 1980, and now the Republicans are trying to co-op it. Jesus Christ. That belonged to the hockey team, and that's it. You don't start using that shit for your fucking purposes.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I believe that cancel culture, which is the military wing of wokeism, is strangling a free people. You are not free if you can't express yourself.
Right. You should be able to express yourself. And you guys don't like when we do it.
You are not free if you cannot say what you think.
Yeah, but you can't go yelling fucking fire when there's not a fire in a goddamn movie theater. And you know that.
I believe that the nauseously woke Washington insider elites, the permanent Washington types, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, you. You.
The vanilla soy extra foam latte crowd.
Yeah, you don't like people that look like you who go against you. They're your biggest enemy, right?
That lives in the Georgetown condos with the important art on their walls.
Only you would know, fucker.
Don't respect our ideas. They don't care what we think. And
You got all that shit. You're just playing some actor's game. Stella! Stella! I could have been a champion. Spark! Spark! Go, Adrian!
they believe they're better than us.
We are better than you. Because you suck. It's not Biden who sucks. You suck.
Like I said, folks, you can't fix stupid, but
You can't fix corn pone.
by God, you can vote it out.
And we're going to vote you out because we know you try to fucking cheat. Corn pone.
And
Finally.
I believe our future can be better than our present or our past. I do.
Oh, how dramatic you are. I believe our present can be greater than our past, or future, or whatever the fuck you're saying. You're full of shit. You are what you is. Isn't that Frank Zappa? You are what you is, and you is a fucking cornpone. Corpuscle.
I believe our future can be better than our present or our past.
Not with you. Go.
I believe that we're only as good as our dreams.
Oh, what the fuck is that? That is such bullshit. Well, we only believe we're as good as our dreams. You're fucking full of shit. You're full of shit,
That we're only as valuable as our children.
Oh, here we go. Our greatest resources are children. But we know what color he wants the children. Yeah. Fucker.
But the water won't clear up.
In Flint, right? And in Jackson, Mississippi, where the state you were born. It's not cleared up. And you know why? I think I have a feeling why it's not cleared up, fucker. And you're one of the types who don't clear it up.
Until we get the pigs out of the creek.
And you are a big fucking cornpone pig. You are the very thing that you talk about. You are projecting your own existence. Who are you to call somebody a pig, you fucking swine?
Help me do that.
No thanks.
Help me do that.
No thanks.
Help me do that.
You can't get a stick up your ass soon enough. As well as your fucking compadres there.
I love this country.
No, you don't. You like what you like.
I love this country as much as you do.
You're a fucking liar. You wouldn't fight, you asshole. You got no balls to fight. You'd faint if you saw a knife.
I think America's worth fighting for.
Oh, how original this man is.
Look, it's not a perfect world, folks.
Oh, really?
It's
Well,
not.
I have never heard that. But it's not a perfect world. But,
I promise you that I will win every fight.
oh, who the fuck is this? John Henry or Patrick Henry or Patrick Swayze? What the fuck?
But I'll promise you this.
You keep promising me shit. Don't promise me shit, fucker. Don't promise me shit.
By God,
By God. Who's fucking God? If he's with you, fuck him.
I will refuse to be beaten.
Oh, what fucking bravado. When have you been in the ring? When's the last time you got in a fight?
I will never quit on America.
Oh, fuck, you'll quit every second, you motherfucker.
I will never quit on America, and I ask you for that same commitment today. One more thing.
Now you announce that you have syphilis. Is that true?
And then I'm really done.
It's been a long enough, fella.
There's one more thing I believe.
Well, say it already, asshole.
I've said it before,
Well, say it.
but I'm going to say it again.
Say it.
I don't hate anybody.
Bullshit. Liar. Pants on fire.
I look for grace wherever I can find it.
Bullshit. Liar. Pants on fire. Asshole.
There's always something on God's green earth for us to be thankful for.
And it ain't you.
I believe that love is the answer. I do.
Oh, you certainly do you? Love is the answer for you. I can't wait to what you say, fucker.
I believe that love is the answer.
What are you, John Lennon?
But you ought to own a handgun
Oh, but killing is better. That's what you're saying.
just in case.
Loving is killing. Beautiful.
Thank you.
No thanks. Well, that is me, South Philly Joe. I will give you back to Brian for some other commentary and such. Thank you for listening to me. I am South Philly Joe with the Brooklyn accent, and every once in a while it slips into some other kind of shit like Boris Karloff and a British accent. I don't know. Oh, wow. All right, folks. Yeah. Well, that motherfucker. Let's get him off of here. Jesus, I've seen enough of this guy. There we go. Yeah, I think it was very important to bring back South Philly Joe for these assholes. Because I need to go off in my own kind of way. And that's the way I do it. I mean, if he's going to play the bullshit and perform, then I'll do it too. I'll do it too. So anyway, let me turn the audio down more because I know it's going to be a little too loud. So I wish everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's doing well. So where did I get this intensity this week with John Kennedy? Well, he was attacking Merrick Garland. I'll show you some clips from that. And yeah, Jeff, some of you remember South Philly Joe. I still have the channel out there. I use that character to attack Van Drew, who was the governor from, or the senator from Iowa, and a few others. Jim Jordan. When I have to, I do it. I do it for the biggest assholes out there. So, yeah. So he was attacking Merrick Garland. Again, like I said, I have no love for Merrick Garland. But he deserves some sympathy because it was obvious what John Kennedy was doing to him. And I'm going to show you some clips from that. So let's do that, shall we? Get this moving. This time I will not be using the South Philly Joe character. This will just be myself. That should be okay. And here we go. And I am going to change that to FaceTime. All right, there we go. So there we are a year later. And maybe desire drugs. Yeah, he's sickening, but he's like this all the time. You know, he knows better, but he does this shit. So we're gonna check out this week. We're gonna move ahead a year, and we're gonna see his performance.
I read this somewhere. I don't remember who said it, but I wrote it, but I remember it. It was once observed that a parent who stops loving their children, if a parent stops loving their children, the children will not stop loving the parent. The children will stop loving themselves. I know we can agree that we should encourage parents to be involved in their kids' lives.
All right, let me just cut to the chase here. Now, what he's going to start talking about is this memo
that supposedly came from the DOJ, which there was no proof of, at least not from Garland. And it doesn't look like it really came, or even if whatever did come out was not stated in context. This guy's playing around with things. And the background on this is that there were a lot of people making, physically violent threats, parents against school boards. Okay, and these were coming from Trumpers, basically, or specifically, I should say. Okay, so they're calling for violence against these people. And of late, a lot of things have been going on with the schools. They're trying to cut out the books, blah, 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 all of that. So it was the Department of Justice's intention to try to protect these people, these school boards, from these violent parents. Now, again, they're not saying that it actually happened, but the threats were there. They were called, I believe, threat tags. So the DOJ received a threat tag, a notice of some threat, or a call in that there was a threat, they were going to investigate. And you'd want that too, right? Shit, I'm a teacher. I don't need to be threatened because, I'm teaching. Or they seem to feel that, maybe I'm the wrong guy to be out there teaching. So I don't need the threats. And if I do get a threat, I'm going to do something about it. And I would expect the DOJ to do something. Anywhere in this country. Okay? And what Garland was trying to tell this bumpkin, and Kennedy knew this, but he's still playing around with this. He's trying to say that it has to be taken into context. He said they have a First Amendment right to complain, but they don't have a right to make threats. And they're going back and forth between the two issues. And he's trying to say that, the DOJ trying to defend school boards who've been threatened physically, right, with violence, they're trying to twist it and say, well, all they wanted to do is say what they wanted to say. And this is what's going to happen with Tucker Carlson, since he's gotten all these videos from the Republican Party, the January 6th shit. So they're going to try to find 2 seconds of all those videos where people weren't breaking windows and say, well, this was just a tourist visit. See what I'm saying? So he's using these twists of words to try to, I don't want to say semantic fiat, but they're trying to twist it around to make Garland look like the bad guy. So that's the background, okay? And Garland kind of feels it, but he doesn't have the balls to come back, balls against the wall against the guy. He doesn't. He just does it in his way, and that's just the way Garland does it. I wouldn't do it that way. I think with this son of a bitch, kind of like what he said about, when you want to deal with despots, you've got to, make them understand that you're strong, and they'll listen to that. And Garland doesn't do this here, but let's check it out anyway.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure we can agree that we should encourage parents to make their kids do their homework.
Yes, although there's sometimes some resistance to that.
Right. And to make sure
Okay, light talk there. He's trying, he gets, what Kennedy is doing, in my opinion, is he's trying to get into this psychological flow of people agreeing with him. Kids should do their homework, and parents should make, kids do their homework. And yeah, we all agree on that kind of shit. So if you keep saying yes enough, he's going to make people think that the continuum is there and that you should agree with everything that he says. And this will generally happen here.
they get sleep at night so they can be ready for school.
Yes.
Here's what I've always been confused about.
I don't think you've been confused at all.
Didn't you understand the chilling effect that it would have to parents when you issued your directive, when you directed your criminal divisions and your counterterrorism divisions to investigate parents who were angry at school boards and administrators during COVID?
So, Senator, if you just give me a moment to put the full context, I did not do that.
See, this is where Garland makes his mistake. I mean, yes, he's defending himself like he would in court. He's being a gentleman about it. But man, you got to kick ass against somebody like this. You know, you got to come right back and say, "You stupid son of a bitch! You know damn well, okay, that these investigations were against people who were making violent threats. Okay, violent threats. This was not somebody just voicing their opinion about COVID and wearing masks and having to do virtual learning. This was about people making threats, and you're trying to turn this around and make them look like angels, and they're not. They're assholes."
I did not issue any memorandum directing the investigation of parents who were concerned about their children. Quite to the contrary, the memorandum that you're talking about says at the very beginning of the memorandum that vigorous public debate is protected by the First Amendment. And the kind of concerns that you're talking about are, as expressed by parents, are of course completely protected. The memorandum was aimed at violence and threats of violence against a whole host of school personnel. It was not aimed at parents making complaints to their school board. And it came in the context of a whole series of other kinds of violent threats and violence against other public officials.
Let's walk through this. Your directive to your criminal division and your counterterrorism division came in a response to a letter from the National School Boards Association, did it not?
In part to the letter and in part to news reports of violence and threats of violence.
The National School Board Association said these parents ought to be investigated under the Patriot Act as potential domestic terrorists.
That's right. And if they're going to make threats, I would expect them to be investigated like domestic terrorists. You don't make threats to people on a school board simply because you don't agree with their political positions.
And you'll notice, Senator, that I said nothing like that.
I understand, but that's what the letter said.
There was a reference to that in the letter,
Right.
something I disagree with.
And your employees helped them write the letter, didn't they?
I don't know anything to suggest that that's true.
I
No,
think
don't.
it is true.
Well,
And the White House helped them write that letter, didn't they?
I don't know. I have no knowledge about that, but certainly I don't know anything about my employees
And so,
helping write that letter.
So you get this letter from the National School Board Association.
See here, Anthony, you made an interesting point here. His IQ seems to be about 90. I mean, it does. He, in a certain sense, you and I, when we look at this, you say, well, he's ignorant. Now, he is a really brilliant guy. There's no doubt about it. He, magna cum laude, he had to figure a lot of things out to be able to get there. But he's worse than a stupid person who pulls this shit. He is using his brilliance to try to, like what Einstein said, something to the effect that, if you can't make a 6-year-old understand something, then you don't understand it yourself. This guy tries to weave that web, but in such a way that his audience is not Merrick Garland. It's not even me or you. It's somebody who can't even understand the dialogue that they're having. And he's trying to make it look like he's right, even though he has twisted things. He's going to move away from that violence thing, and he's going to keep throwing these things that can't be verified. He says that the White House was involved, and we already know that Biden doesn't want to get involved with the DOJ because it'll look bad. Now, someone like Trump didn't care that he got involved with Bill Barr. That was no problem. But I would think that Biden purposely did not want to get involved in this kind of shit. Aside from the fact that you want your DOJ to protect people as a general idea. Shit.
Asking you to investigate parents that your employees helped write and that the White House helped write, and you issue a directive to your criminal division and to your counterintelligence or counterterrorism division to start investigating parents who are angry. What did you think was going to happen?
Say again, Senator, that nothing in my memorandum says to investigate parents who are angry. Quite the opposite. It says that the First Amendment protects that kind of vigorous debate. The only thing we wanted was for an assessment to be made out in the field about whether federal assistance was needed to prevent violence and threats of violence.
And there you go. Again, it was about the violence. Now, I take issue with how Garland's defending himself. He's a gentleman, and that's great. But we're talking about a slick Willie over here, you know. And I think that you have to attack him. And maybe I'm wrong. But in this world of, 30-second sound bites on news and TikTok and YouTube, sometimes you just got to get your line in. You got to be smarter than that person. You got to make that person say, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't use this tactic because he'll use it against me. He'll knock me out with it.
Well, one of your that's not the way your department implemented your directive. One of your field offices actually opened an investigation. You set up a website and a hotline to report parents.
Yeah. If they're going to threaten somebody over the head with a fucking hammer, I would expect them to have a hotline. If you're going to threaten them with any type of violence, I just said a hammer would have been anything. But if you're going to threaten violence, I want a hotline. I don't need that shit. A candle going there? All right.
And
I don't think we didn't set up a specific hotline about this. This was a reference to the
Democratic
FBI's hotline.
Party official contacted you. They said that some Republicans were inciting violence by expressing public displeasure with school districts' vaccine mandates. And one of your field offices opened an investigation.
Yeah, I would guess that would be the right thing to do if they were threatening physical violence.
Which is a permanent part of their record.
Senator, I don't know anything about the specific thing that you're talking about. They used to say in high school this is going to be on your permanent record. I don't believe there is any such thing with respect to this.
I think there is at the FBI, General, and you and I both know there is.
No, there you and I both know there is. So then again, he's just throwing shit out there.
There was a lady a mom in Michigan. She has a special needs kid.
Oh, there you go. Now you're gonna, try to get the tears of the people. She had a special ed kid, and he's studying real hard.
And the kid was doing pretty well. And she got upset with her local school board over its closures and virtual learning policies. And she went to the meeting. And she made an intemperate.
See, here he uses this anecdotal story. This is just going to tear people apart, and you're going to have these Republican bumpkins out there who are going to take this one story, and that's how it's going to shape their point of view. Simply because you're going to talk about this one lady with a special ed student, and they kicked him when he was in his wheelchair.
Comment. She accused him of being a bunch of Nazis.
Yeah, not a real good thing. You could do it, but not a good thing. But no, that's not the kind of thing they're going to investigate. But if you then threaten violence, then that's something different.
Why would the FBI open an investigation of her?
Again, I don't know anything about the specifics of the case, but accusing people of being Nazis, while I find bad, is certainly not criminal. It's totally protected by the First Amendment. I've said that over and over again. This is not the first time we've discussed this.
That's not what your department did.
Well, this is about the third time I'm being asked about the same memorandum, and each time I've said, and I hope that the senators would go ahead and advise their constituents in the same way, that this is not what we do. We are not in any way trying to interfere with parents making complaints about the education of
But
their
don't
children.
you understand, General, and I believe you, but don't you understand that this looks like you were just giving in to the teachers' unions and politicizing?
There you go. Like Betsy DeVos. And by the way, he's a good friend of Betsy DeVos. You know, the number one enemy is the teachers' unions. You know, he's going to attack the teachers' unions. People who, you know, they're making under 100 grand a year on average, a lot less than 100 grand a year, and you're going after them. That's the evil in the world, is the teachers' unions. This motherfucker.
The disagreement, the honest disagreements. I mean,
Make
we
us out like
only,
we're
as a
you know,
result
some
of
type
some
of
of our
mob.
school board policies, we only experienced the largest learning loss for our kids in modern history. Don't you think parents had a right to be upset?
Absolutely.
Instead of, what is a, I mean, you implemented, what's a threat tag?
I didn't implement the threat tag. What you're talking about there is a part of internal FBI operations.
Yeah,
As far as I
You
can,
directed your folks, though, to open
Let the
threat
man
tags
speak, for
on these
Christ's sake.
parents
I
and,
didn't-
and investigate them.
yeah, I did not direct that. My understanding from testimony by the FBI is that when somebody makes a complaint and it involves, if somebody gives a tip that a school official is being threatened, then there's, in order to look at trends, they mark it as a tip involving a school official. They have the same set of threat tags with respect to a complaint that suggests somebody is making a threat against a Supreme Court justice. These aren't complaints. These are tips of violence or threats of
A
violence.
threat tag on a parent for being concerned at a school board meeting?
It's not on the parent. It's not on whoever. It's on to indicate that a threat was made against, or at least alleged that a threat was made against, a school board member or a school official or a teacher or a school. Some of these turned out to be bomb threats.
Senator Kennedy, we're going to have a second round of questioning on behalf of
I understand.
Chairman Durbin.
All right, that's enough of that. All right. All right. So you see, look, this is nothing new. They twist this and they go back and forth, and it's no wonder that these rednecks, or whatever you want to call them, believe, not even rednecks. I have a cousin, he's not a redneck, but he believes all of this shit. And I don't know how we get beyond it. You know, I think there has to be some psychological understanding of how to deal with this, what essentially is propaganda, this effective propaganda. And we've heard all the news about, you know, about Fox this week, the last 2 weeks, how they've, you know, been the propaganda arm of the Republican Party, which we have talked about. David and I talked about it just ad infinitum about Fox, the real danger. When they took their depositions, of course, they had to tell the truth. But outside of the courts, they just say any kind of shit that they want, and it's really, really difficult to deal with. And I'm saying that the response that Garland gave, his way of responding, and it's unfortunate because he was a gentleman in his response, but you have to at some point go off from these people. I mean, I don't know. I think it's at some point humiliation is going to be a technique. I don't think you want to just humiliate. I mean, it's not in my persona to, you know, you want to humiliate somebody. You know, I would rather do the Garland thing. But for some people, and for some instances, I think humiliation is probably the better route, because they're going to get away with it, right? It's kind of like, in a certain sense, in an analogous way, what Kennedy was talking about himself with dealing with despots and these crazed rulers, you know, they do understand force or strength or whatever you want to call it. And maybe with these people, they'll understand humiliation. And you have to find the right person to humiliate. Now, in my case, I had South Philly Joe. I mean, that kind of works. I mean, if you're going to be humiliated, then maybe you'll think twice about trying to pull that shit. And Garland's just not going to cut it with that. You know, it might work with the college educated crowd, but when you're dealing with the masses, the populace, I think you might have to have a bit of that, or you say no more, or like what just Anthony said, someone just say shut the hell up, you know. Or, and I get it, you know, you get right to the point. Maybe it's not so much what you say now, but how you say it, or maybe both. It's how you say what you really need to say, and that's going to be the price that we're going to have to pay to win. Otherwise, you know, this John Kennedy shit's just going to keep going on. Because you can see he was like a conquering hero to those people. Yeah, they're idiots, right? I mean, they were all white. You saw that. You know, like 999 of 1,000 of them. And if they're not white, they probably paid them like Trump does to get, you know, people to be behind him. It's sickening, folks. It's absolutely sickening. And we know it. You know, I mean, we've had it. I mean, if you saw Veg's video today, you know, you just look what's going. I mean, if you're a Canadian and you're looking south, you say, what the fuck's going on down there? I don't know, Veg. I'm still trying to figure it out, and I'm down here in it. And if the Republicans win, I imagine it'll only be a short matter of time before they figure out a way to do it north of the border too. I mean, I can't imagine it happening in Canada, but I couldn't imagine it happening here, you know, 40 years ago. I mean, there were assholes like Nixon, but this just takes the cake. Ignorance is the basic MAGA club's members' necessary credentials, right? Now, some people may differ with that and say they literally believe it, and I mean, look, again, I mean, Kennedy is an educated man, but maybe he, like Trump, loves the uneducated, you know. Yeah, it's really sad. Let's see what Veg has to say here. It's spreading up here already, Brian. Well, I hope not, Veg. I personally have not heard or seen that yet, but it's only because I'm just surrounded by American news. The only news from Canada I get is when I check out the scores of the hockey games, and I mean that. I don't know. I can't see Canadians, you know, biting the worm, so to speak. But I don't know. Because if it happens there, then there's no place north to go. You know how, like, during Vietnam, people went north. They're not going to go north, and they're probably not going to go south. And there's nothing to the east, and there's nothing to the west. And gravity can't, you know. So there's no place to go. Just tune out, I guess. Yeah. I hope it doesn't happen up there, Veg. I really, you know, as much as Canada is a small country, you know, population-wise, yeah, this is, you know, it's kind of like that show, the plot to whatever, Take America or whatever it was. Canada was the place you could go if something happened, and it was the same thing in Vietnam. It's, you know, that place you could go. Like I said, I don't want to leave my own country. I want to fight. I'm an American, you know. It's just your home. But if things got really bad, where those son of a bitches took over, I know exactly where to go. The number one place I would go is Canada. I have no problem there because it's, it reminds me of my life, my environment. I've been up there, and it was probably the only country where I felt like I'm not really going anywhere different. You know what I mean? There was no difference. It was calming. Maybe a little more snow, and sometimes not even that. It was just a feeling of comfort that there it couldn't happen, or better not happen, because we need someplace to go. But I would think that most Canadians are liberals, maybe with the exception of Alberta. But I don't know. I will say I'm ignorant to the politics of Canada right now. Aside from what happened with the truckers, I can't think that you would have that many conservatives up there, for the exception of the province of Alberta, right? I mean, I would assume that Ontario is basically liberal. I would assume that, Quebec, I don't know, Newfoundland. How do you say that? Veg, is it Newfoundland or Newfoundland? I don't know. But I'm just making assumptions. But it seems to me there'd be only really one place where you have those conservatives. And population-wise, I don't think that Alberta's anywhere near like Quebec or Ontario. But bottom line is, Canada's really important right now because it's the safety valve for Americans if it ever got really bad and these Republicans took over. Because, as you heard him say, get at it. You don't see them leaving. Well, we might leave if people like you take over completely, because I can't live like that. I don't care, where I'm born. This is why you see so many Russian males leaving in droves, in the hundreds of thousands. And they love their country. They yearn for the day that they can go back. But not now, not with that asshole. Let's check out what Epi says. For future reference, a new span American canal joining the Pacific Ocean and the Great Lakes and the Atlantic Ocean might be an idea to look into. Good luck with the neighbors. Burn incense and pray for sanity. Yeah, well, I have the incense back there. And I'm just not a prayer. Prayer that's the one thing that never worked for me. Prayer. If prayer became a negative, again, I'm not stigmatizing anybody who prays. If you want to pray, that's your business. If it works, great. But for me, when I was very young and I used to do that, it became a negative thing because nothing ever turned out good from it for me. You know what I mean? Like, whatever I was praying for, please don't let my dog die. Died. And, please don't get sick. Got sick. And you say, why am I doing this? Maybe I do the opposite. Maybe I'm praying to the wrong guy. Life is just one discomforting moment after the other sometimes. Veg, we have 3 parties and a first past the post system. A party can win a majority with 30. Well, I hope not. That's the last thing we need up there is a minority rule. 3 parties. First past the post system. Party can win with a majority. Wow. Well, at least Doug Ford's not your prime minister, That couldn't happen. At least in my opinion, it couldn't happen. Right? It couldn't happen. It can't. That can't happen. People like Doug Ford could not become a leader of Canada. So, yeah. I would agree with you, Anthony. We gain more by social interactions, not solitary meditations, but meditation does lower vibration. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. I think I do that. Sometimes before I go to bed, Anthony, I will put on like really low soundscape music on and I'll just relax. I'll probably do that tonight. I agree with you. I think I don't like meditating too much because I think that can also cause problems. But at times, I think you need that mental rest. I don't like resting too much with my brain, aside from sleep. Perhaps Keith. Hello, Keith. I like the picture there, the doggy. Perhaps the human sacrifice of a son or two would make you a believer. Yeah. Yeah. Right. White supremacy is what I'm saying. Well, that's what they want, isn't it, Anthony? It's really what they want. You know, unfortunately. I mean, they don't say it outright, although there are some of them who do. I mean, but all you have to do is look at their schools, look at their churches, look at their CPAC, presentations, and these people seem to be the same color. And ordinarily, I wouldn't, because I don't like to think of color at all as it is. But it's just mind-boggling. So many people who look like me are such assholes. And again, I don't like to even think of people in terms of color. And I'm colorblind, actually. I'm literally colorblind. I see so many, and I say, God damn, this is just so embarrassing. It's so pathetic. And it's so evil. And I know why John Brown did what he did. Kinky, good to see you. Why not rally in front of Faux News, New York City, and Washington, D.C. headquarters? Midas Touch can organize. Maybe we ought to do that. Maybe, we ought to have a big DWS get together, but it'll be a protest and go to Fox. But I would imagine if that happened, we would probably find a Kyle Rittenhouse just ready for us, just waiting for us. You can bet Fox News would call up Kyle and say, Kyle, we need you down here. And I'm serious, they would do something like that. And I believe Kyle Rittenhouse would pull the trigger on me. Yeah. Well, Anthony, I sympathize with you. I'm not in a red state, but as you know, I'm in a red county, a really red county. So even though it's kind of nice being in a blue state, I have been living amongst the most conservatives all of my Bridgeton life here. Not in Bridgeton proper, the city, but the cornfields around us and such. There's a lot of John Kennedys in my area, including Jefferson Van Drew, congressman from my district, the 2nd district. It's red. Rallies in New York City must be registered prior. They would allow it. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to rally, you might as well either do it in Washington or in New York. I would probably say do it in New York. You do it in Washington, I know how these January 6 people are, And they get away. I mean, I just have this, this intuition that they would get away with it. They'd get some machine gun from World War I and just kill us all. And somehow you'd get a Bruce Schrader that would say, yeah, well, these protesters, look at Weinstein, that threatening bald head of his, I don't know. All right, so, well, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to have this a short night tonight. I was thinking about an hour, but I've gone almost an hour and 40 minutes. What do you know? I guess we didn't get too many people tonight, but that's okay. Because the message is what matters, and whether I have 10 people or 20 people or 25 people, it really doesn't matter. I was actually, during the week, thinking of going on my other channel, the one where I do have over 1,000 subscribers, and having everybody for tonight go over there. And I was going to have a live program, but I wasn't going to do it about politics at all. Let me put my music up a little bit. I was thinking of talking about Nick Drake, but more specifically about Nick Drake's mother, Molly Drake. And if you're familiar with Nick Drake with Riverman and Pink Moon, and some of his more famous songs. Troubled guy. I knew somebody from England. He works in my but in my state, and I used to fix my Mac, and he had a good friend who was close with Nick Drake, and Nick Drake was fucked up. But what was interesting about Nick Drake is, and you can check it on anywhere, I guess. Molly Drake was born in 1915, and there are recordings of her singing poetry, and I guess her husband was playing piano from the 1950s. And I only bring this up because I was thinking about doing a video about this, because her voice was very haunting, because it almost had a Nick Drake-esque feel to it, the way she, produced her notes. It had that breathiness to it. And I think on her gravesite, on her gravestone, it says something to the effect, "Now we are everywhere," and that is a famous line from Nick Drake. And I thought it would be an interesting look at somebody's life, somebody who was troubled and depressed, and suffering through depression, because we've talked about depression a lot the last 9 months. That Dave's been out. But I really liked Molly. If you get a chance on your own, if you don't like it, that's fine, But there's something about it, Again, this is somebody who was born in 1915. So you would expect her to just sing one of those, old time Victrola songs and whatnot. But it was something recorded in her house with somebody playing keyboard, and it was charming, but it was charming in an enchanting way, because you could see it was the birth of Nick Drake. It was from his mother. There was that little piece of it that said, that's where Nick Drake gets this from. So, yeah. If you get a chance, Molly Drake. It's just recordings from inside her house. But they're very cool poems. And I really like Nick Drake. He was just a phenomenal acoustic guitarist. He didn't really have many choruses in his songs. And there was, I think, an album from 1970 where he had like a couple jazz tunes, which were pretty cool. A little poppy, but it was jazz. But his exquisite technique. Again, you don't find many choruses in his tune. It just kind of has a very basic form to it, but it has a dreamy feel. All the songs had that dreamy feel, maybe with the exception of those couple jazz tunes. But it's something worth checking out. Nick Drake, he was something else. But I think only if you're into Nick Drake is listening to Molly Drake worth it. You could probably find it on YouTube. But if you are a fan of Nick Drake's music, I think it's worth, an hour of your time to check it out. And that's what I wanted to go into, because I just found it fascinating, absolutely fascinating. I thought, that would be kind of a cool video to do, a cool show to do, but not on DWS. This is not something I want to go on Facebook's Divided We Stand page. So maybe we'll do, and maybe in the future I'll probably post something, or maybe I'll have a 1-minute video, a short or something like that, stating that I'll have a show on the iGenerals channel. So you might want to subscribe to it, and then I'll do a live thing, but it won't be political. It'll be more about those kind of topics, but very rarely, just I see like a Nick Drake thing. I think deserves something, and I can probably put the songs on there. I mean, I'll get a copyright claim, but it won't knock me out because I don't monetize anything. I mean, I'm not getting anything, right? So I could probably do it on my iJournals channel. As I said, I have over 1,000 subscribers. I've had that for a long time, and there's certain videos that get a lot of views. It's just not me. It's just not me. That's not why I did the channel. As I told you, it was more or less because of Guy McPherson. So yeah. So if any of you are familiar with Nick Drake, check it out. And check out Molly Drake. But if you're not familiar with Nick Drake or you have no interest, I'm sorry for even bringing it up. But it's an interesting. He's an interesting artist, and yeah, maybe you'll enjoy it. And if you haven't heard Nick Drake, yeah, you might like it. You might like it. And if not, I'm sorry. So anyway, yeah, and I'll end with where I should have begun. If you do like what you've seen, please subscribe. I don't monetize anything, and I appreciate it. Please click a like or a dislike, whatever. It helps the algorithm, because otherwise YouTube is just going to bury this forever and ever. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I will see you. Touchwood. Thank you, Veg, Effie, Kinky, Trev, Joey, Anthony, Keith. I appreciate it. You spend time with me. I appreciate it. So have a wonderful evening and try to have a wonderful week. Just get your sleep, if anything, and I'll see you next week. Thanks, Kinky. Thanks, Effie. Sean Connery. Thank you, Veg. We love you too. We always have one little corner of the world in London, Ontario to check out a video. No matter how bad shit is, Veg, you'll remind us that there is a corner of the world, people like us who are in some corner of a room just trying to deal with life. And it ain't easy. All right. Adios.